What are the key skills you need to make a high income through your own business, specifically and hopefully a location independent Alpha 2.0 business like we talk about here at Sovereign CEO, is your ability to work with people who are radically different from you. And this is an ability that most people don't have, and or probably more accurately, most people don't want to mess with. I will give you very specific examples in a minute. I used to work with a guy. I'm not going to say his name. I really want to say his name, but I won't say his name because that's my policy. I don't mention names. He was a guy who was pretty big in the internet marketing space about, I would say 11, 12 years ago. If I said his name right now, a lot of you would know who this person is or was. And that's my key point here. I really liked this person. I learned a lot from this person. This is a good guy. But one of his core business objectives or standards was that I will not work with anyone who I don't want to work with, who I don't enjoy working with. Period. End of story. I will not do it. And when I heard him say that at the time, 15-ish years ago, it made sense to me. I said, you know what, that's a good idea. That is a worthy goal, and that's pretty cool. And I don't know if he came from a job or corporate environment where he was forced to work with a bunch of assholes. Probably. We all were there at one point. But this limited him, and I did something different. I instead forced myself to become comfortable with working with people who are radically different than me in terms of personality styles, emotional management, and things like that. And he didn't do this. And today I make much more money than he does or did. And frankly, today he's kind of gone. He just kind of floated away and nobody knows where he is now. And I promise you, one of the reasons that I did well when he didn't is because I embraced the concept of working with people who are different than me. I could give you many examples. I'll give you several. Here's an example from my actual business life. In all of my companies, I work with several teams of people. I work with, if you were to add them all up, about 11 people on core teams of people I work with in all of my different companies, in all of my different income streams. And I had to learn many years ago that people I work with on my core teams, all of them except for me, have this weird trait that I don't have. You might even have this trait. You may have heard of this trait. It's called anger, which means that when something happens to these people that they don't like, they get mad. When someone says something they don't like, they get mad. And they react with something called anger, which is something I don't have. And so if they're in a meeting, they will raise their voice and get angry and scream and rant. If they're online, they will send snarky, angry emails, or they'll put messages in all caps. And then what will happen is the person they're emailing is also a person who has this thing called anger, maybe another person on the team. And so this person goes, ah, and this person goes, ah. So now I have two people who are mad, and then I have to come in and calm everything down. Now, if I had this objective of only working with people that I like to work with, who I completely understand, who are exactly like me, then I would work with basically nobody, because I'm the only one on earth, sometimes it feels like that doesn't get mad when things happen that I don't like. When things happen to me I don't like, I go, well, that fucking sucks. Then I fix the problem and move on. But I had to learn that most human beings, including very effective, intelligent, good workers, people who make a lot of money, people who are successful, and people who can help me become successful, generally aren't like this. So I had to, many years ago, make the decision to force myself to work with people who were effective people in the business world, who could help me accomplish my goals, and I could help them accomplish their goals, even though on a semi-regular basis, things would happen they wouldn't like, and they would get mad, and I'd have to manage their anger. And because I don't have this standard of, I will only work with people who act just like me and behave professionally at all times just like me, not that I behave professionally all the time, but you get my point. Otherwise, I will not work with them. I would be making far, far, far less money today than I would have if I had imposed that standard, really limitation on my life. Let me give you more specifics that many of you have brought to my attention. But before I do that, if you like this content, how to set up your own location-independent business, move to a less bad country, or at least set up an international backup plan, and do all these things for very little money, you should subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, leave a comment on this video, leave a like on this video. That way you'll be sure to get this content for free in the future. Many men I have worked with, both in my consulting practice and one-on-one coaching, or even group coaching, have relayed to me, and these are usually guys who are self-employed, have their own companies like I do. They will say things to me like, oh, these marketing people, oh, they're just so spastic and crazy. And that's true. I work with marketing people too. And most marketing people, not all marketing people, God bless them, but most marketing people are very excited. Oh my God, this, Alex Hormozi, you should do this and that. And then you as a business owner have to bring them back down to earth. That's a good idea, Larry. Okay, let's focus on this. But you should do this and you should do this, man. Okay, bro. It's all right. Focus on this. That's how marketing people are. Not all marketing people. I know I'm generalizing, but let's be honest. Most of them are like that because that's the personality they get into. And if you as a non-spastic person are going to say, I'm never going to work with any marketing people who behave that way, boy, are you going to leave a lot of money on the table. You are not going to make good money because these people, many of them are very good at what they do and can make you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, if you just calm the fuck down a little bit and broaden your horizons a little bit and learn to work with people who are not like you. Here's the opposite example. When you have to work with technical people, engineering types, nerdy types, these types can sometimes be difficult too. These are the type of guys where you hire them and they say, well, the last person who worked on your website was a moron because he probably went to community college. And what you need to do is blah, 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 blah. And you say, no, Joe, we're actually not going to do that because the customer doesn't give a shit about that. Well, the customer should. The customer really should care about this because the floating point average of the TPS reports are very important. This happens all the time when you work with technical, nerdy engineering types. And if you're the type of guy who finds that behavior irritating and you say, I'm just never going to work with any engineering types who are like this, you're going to have some real problems in your business because you're going to need those people, especially as you scale your businesses. I'm not saying it's fun to work with these people. I'm not saying you have to like to work with people who are completely different than you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you should force yourself to do it and learn how to do it because that's where the big money is. Can you imagine someone like, let's take an extreme example of a personality type. Bill Gates, one of the biggest nerds in human history. Can you imagine Bill Gates sitting down in a meeting with marketing people? Because I know this happened, and the marketing people are like, oh, Bill Gates, you should do this, bro. Oh my God. Can you imagine Bill Gates saying, that's it, I'm never working with marketing people, F you, and then standing up and walking out of the meeting? No, he didn't do that. He said, my goal is to put a computer with Windows on it on every desk in the world, and I'm not going to be able to accomplish that if I don't know how to work with marketing people. So he sat down in those meetings and grit his teeth, and in his little Kermit the Frog voice, just managed to work with people who were very different than him. Now, yes, he was like Steve Jobs, and he had a temper too, and he would yell and scream at people. Fine. But my point is, he took the time, whether or not he liked it or not, to work with people who are radically different than him. You know what? Here's another aspect of this. Some of you guys who refuse to work with women. There are some of you guys who come out of the red pill world who say, I will never hire a woman because I read a red pill article that said that she'll sue me for harassment. Are you insane? I've said this many times over the past 25, 30 years of my life. The best working relationships I've had with people where I made a lot of money off those relationships and they did too, were with women. If you're going to literally say that you're not going to work with women, or if you're a woman watching this video and you're a proud feminist, you're not going to work with any men because men are pigs. If you're not going to work with the opposite gender, boy, are you limiting yourself in terms of your income. I have made so much money working with women, and you will too if you just take a deep breath and relax and learn how to work with people who are not like you. Now, if you say to me, you know what, I don't care, I only want to work with people I like and people I completely relate to, then fine, have fun making $41,000 for the rest of your life while paying 50% of that in taxes to your collapsing Western government. Boy, does that sound fun. So if you don't care about how much money you make and you're really strict about who you work with, then I guess go ahead and do whatever you want and don't take my advice. I want you to be successful and I want you to make the money that you want to make. And that's going to mean, especially if the money is over $85,000 a year, a sovereign CEO minimum, if it's the big money into the six figures, certainly the seven figures, you're going to have to suck it up, buttercup, and learn to work with people who are nothing like you and view the world completely differently and have completely different communication styles and do things that maybe don't make sense to your rational, logical brain or don't make sense to your crazy, spastic, emotional brain. Doesn't matter. If you want more details on how you can create an income that's $100,000 a year or more, you should check out this video, and I'll see you in that video. Bye.